Atomic Habits. Chapter 6. Stop preparing to start. The third law. Make it easy. There is a version of you that has been getting ready to start for months. Getting ready to get fit. Getting ready to write that thing. Getting ready to finally build that habit. Researching, planning, watching videos about it, thinking about it before bed, but not actually doing it. Chapter 6 is the chapter that explains exactly why, and it is going to be uncomfortable. Because the problem is not that you are lazy. The problem is that you fell in love with motion and mistook it for action. James Clear draws one of the sharpest distinctions in the entire book right here in chapter 6. And once you hear it, you will start seeing it everywhere, in yourself, in people around you, in the way most self-improvement advice is structured. Motion is when you are planning, strategizing, researching, and preparing. You are in motion when you draft the meal plan, but don't cook the meal. You are in motion when you research every running shoe on the market, but never lace up and run. You are in motion when you outline the chapters of the book you want to write, but never open a blank document and type a single sentence. Action is the behavior that actually produces the result. Cooking the meal, running the first step, writing the first terrible sentence. Motion feels productive. It feels like progress. And here's why we love it so much. Motion never risks failure. You can plan to write a book forever without facing the terrifying possibility that the book might not be good. You can research diets indefinitely without ever facing the discomfort of actually being hungry. Motion is preparation dressed up as progress, and it is one of the most seductive traps in all of human behavior. Clear is not saying planning is bad. Planning has its place. But if you find yourself planning more than doing, if the research is stretching on for weeks and months, you are not preparing to start. You're hiding. A teacher at a photography school divided his students into two groups at the start of term. The first group would be graded entirely on quantity. By the end of the semester, they needed to submit 100 photographs. That was it. 100 photos, any photos. And they passed. The quality did not matter at all. The second group would be graded entirely on quality. They only needed to submit one photograph by the end of semester. One. But it had to be perfect. They had the entire term to plan, compose, research, and refine their single best shot. At the end of the semester, the teacher reviewed both groups, and the result stunned everyone, including him. Every single one of the best photographs came from the quantity group. Not some of them, all of them. The students who were shooting constantly, failing constantly, experimenting constantly, learning from each shot and immediately taking another, had developed real skill. Their 100th photo was vastly better than their first. Meanwhile, the quality group had spent the semester theorizing about the perfect photograph. And their one precious, carefully planned shot was technically competent, but creatively flat. Repetition beats planning. Every single time. The most direct path to mastery is not thinking about doing something better. It is doing it. Again and again and again. Habits form through repetition, not intention. Here's what is actually happening inside your brain every time you repeat a behavior. Your brain communicates through neurons, billions of them, connected by pathways. Every time you perform an action, a signal travels down a specific neural pathway. And every single time that same signal travels the same path, the pathway gets physically stronger. The neurons insulate themselves with a substance called myelin, which makes the signal faster and more automatic. Think of it like a trail through a forest. The first time you walk it, you are pushing through undergrowth, fighting branches, slowing down at every turn. Walk that same trail 100 times, and it becomes a clear, worn path. Walk it 1,000 times, and it starts to feel like a road. The effort required keeps dropping with every single repetition. This is why the question, how long does it take to build a habit, is the wrong question. It doesn't take a specific number of days. It takes a specific number of repetitions. It takes enough trips down the trail that the path clears. And the only way to get those repetitions is to stop planning the walk and actually start walking. Clear calls this the frequency principle. The more often you perform a behavior, the more automatic it becomes, regardless of how much time has passed between your first attempt and today. 100 repetitions spread over a year will build a stronger habit than 30 days of intense focus, followed by months of nothing. Consistency across time beats intensity in a burst. Now here's the most immediately practical idea in this entire chapter, and the one most people initially dismiss as too simple to matter. James Clear calls it the 2-minute rule. The idea is this: when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Read before bed each night becomes open the book. That's it. Just open it, 2 minutes. Do yoga 3 times a week becomes roll out the yoga mat, just the mat. Study for my exam becomes open the notebook and read 1 page. You're probably thinking, that cannot possibly work. Reading 1 page is not a reading habit. Opening a yoga mat is not a fitness habit. And you're right. If it stays at 2 minutes, forever. But that is not the point. The point is to master the art of showing up. The biggest obstacle between you and any habit is not sustaining it. It is starting it. Every time you negotiate with yourself about whether to begin, you create an opportunity for your brain to say no. The 2-minute rule removes the negotiation entirely. It is so small, so frictionless, so laughably easy that the brain has almost no argument against it. And here's what actually happens in practice. You open the book, and most of the time, you read more than 1 page. You roll out the mat, and most of the time, you do at least a few stretches. You open the notebook, and most of the time, you study for longer than a minute. Because starting is the hardest part. Once the behavior has begun, momentum takes over. The 2-minute rule is not a trick. It is the truth about how habits actually start in the real world. The 2-minute rule is most powerful when you combine it with something we touched on in Chapter 4. The idea of designing your environment to reduce friction. Clear makes a point here that sounds almost insultingly obvious until you actually test it. Every extra step between you and a habit is a reason for your brain to skip it. Every bit of friction is a vote against doing it, and we dramatically underestimate how much small obstacles affect our behavior. Researchers studied TV watching behavior in office environments. In one setup, the television remote was placed on the coffee table right next to the couch, effortless to reach. In another setup, the remote was placed just a few feet away on top of the television. That is maybe 8 steps of extra effort. 8 steps. People watched significantly less television when the remote was on the TV. 8 steps. That is the power of friction. That is how sensitive your brain is to ease versus effort. So here's the design question this chapter hands you. For every habit you want to build, what is the one physical obstacle between you and starting? Is it that your gym bag is unpacked in a closet? Pack it the night before and leave it at the door? Is it that your journal is buried in a drawer? Put it on your desk with the pen already inside it, already open to the next blank page. Is it that your guitar is in its case, in another room? Take it out of the case and lean it against the wall where you always sit. Make the good behavior the path of least resistance. Not through motivation, not through discipline, through design. Through removing the tiny, seemingly trivial obstacles that your brain uses as permission to quit before you even begin. So here's what Chapter 6 is really saying. Underneath the photography experiment and the neuroscience and the 2-minute rule, you do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. When things get hard, when you are tired, stressed, overwhelmed, uninspired, you will not do what requires effort. You will do what is easy. So the question is not how to summon more motivation on your worst days. The question is, what have you made easy? What is the path of least resistance in your environment? Because that is what you will do. Always. Stop planning the perfect version of the habit. Start with 2 minutes. Remove one obstacle. Show up imperfectly. Repetition builds the road builds the habit. Chapter 7 is the 4th and final law. Make it satisfying. And this is where the whole system comes full circle, because you can make a habit obvious, attractive, and easy. But if it does not feel rewarding in the moment, your brain will quietly file it under things it never needs to do again. The last law is about closing the loop, and it involves something called immediate versus delayed rewards. One of the most honest conversations in the entire book. That is next. Before you go, pick one habit you have been planning to start and apply the 2-minute rule to it right now. What is the smallest possible version of that habit? What could you do in under 2 minutes that would count as showing up? Write it down. Do it tonight. That is the whole assignment, and if this series is giving you something real, subscribe and bring someone with you. Chapter 7 is where the entire system locks in. I will see you there.